Okay, we're now going to be looking at if statements. Now there's three parts to the if statements. The first part would be the logical test, the second part would be if it's true, and the third part would be if it's false. So now let's look at this first example here. So if the unit sold is more than or equal to the target sales, then the target has been met. So let's have a look at here. So this is how many units we sold for this particular DVD or TV show. This was the target we had to achieve. Okay, so the first part of the if statement is the logical test. So we're checking if this cell here is greater than or equal to this cell here. So if the unit sold is the same or more than the target, the true statement will be on target. Now in this case it's true because we've sold more units sold than the target. However, if this statement is false, so let's say the unit sold was 10, then this is no longer true anymore, it's false. So this false statement will be printed instead. So the first part is a logical test. So is the unit sold more than or equal to the target sales? If the statement is true, then the true statement will be printed in the cell. If the statement is false, then the false statement will be printed in the cell. So now let me do one example. Okay, it's a very similar example actually. So what we have here, we have different mobile phones, okay? And this is how many phones have been sold for each particular brand and model. So what we want to say is, are we under target or are we on target? Now the criteria is, if we sell less than 20 phones, then we're under target, okay? So obviously the first one you can see is more than 20 phones, so it's going to be on target. So let's start the formula. So if I type in equal if, so for the logical test you got to click on the cell you want to check. So if the sold is less than 20 sales, okay, to move on to the next part you need to type in comma. So now we're on true part. So if this is true, we're going to say under target. Okay. However, if this is not true, if I want to move on to the false, I type in comma, and the false value will be on target. And then if I close the speech marks, close the bracket. So before I press enter, I'm expecting to see on target, because this logical test is no longer true. So this value is not less than 20, therefore it's not a true statement. The false statement will be shown. However, if I replicate this function, for the next cell, we've only sold 4 phones, so we are under target. This one's on target, because obviously we sold more than 20 phones, okay? The next set of cells are under target, as you can see. Let's do one more example. So we have some employees, and we have hours worked. So they're either going to be a full-time or part-time employee, based on the number of hours they've worked. If they've worked less than 25 hours, then we're going to say they're part-time. If they haven't worked less than 25, they worked more, then they will be known as full-time. So again, we type in equal if. So checks whether a condition is met and returns a value if true, and another value if false. So the logical test, we have to check the hours worked, and the criteria is less than 25. Comma, if the hours worked is less than 25, then we're going to say part-time. Close the speech marks. Okay, I can't move to the false until I type in a comma. So if it's not less than 25, then we're going to say they are full-time. So again, before I press enter, I'm expecting to see full-time for Ahmed, because obviously he's worked more than 25 hours. And if I replicate, now if I change this to 25, it's still going to show me full-time, okay? Because in the formula we said less than 25. If I do less than and equal to 25, so anyone who's worked 25 hours or less, they will be known as part-time, and I'm expecting this to change, which it has in this case now. So that's the simple if statement, okay? We can also do if statements with calculations, okay? So as you can see, we have a logical test here. So if I zoom in, so if they are receiving the student discount, so does the cell in D4 equal yes? If it does, then what we have to do for the true statement is work out 10% of the price. So to work out 10% of the price, it's basically going to be the price multiplied by 10%. Okay, to work out the discount value. So we're in this cell here and we want to work out how much discount they're going to get. If D4 is not equal to yes, okay, then we're going to return a false statement which will be 0. So if the student discount has been given, yes, then for the true statement you have to calculate 10% of the price, which will be 10% multiplied by the price. So the price is in C4. This will be the value for the student discount. If the student discount does not contain yes, then the false value 0 will be shown instead. So let me do the next example. Okay, let me just apply currency. So we need to work out the new salary. Okay, we have sales targets here. So what we're saying, if the employees have sold more than their target, so the target is here, so this guy Ahmed has sold more than his target, then for the true statement we have to add £500 to the current salary. Obviously, if they haven't sold, Sarah hasn't sold more than the target, then the salary will remain the same. So if I type in equal if, the criteria is we're checking to see if the sold is more than or equal to their sales target. So if they sold 20 or more, and if it's true, what we want to say is we want to add 500 to the salary. So we can either type in this cell here and type 500, or we can reference to this cell here and lock it in, because when we replicate, I don't want the contents of this cell to move to any other position. If it's false, the salary will remain the same. And then if I press enter, you can see this salary has gone to 1500, obviously because the target was met. If I change this to 19, it goes down to 1000. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at nested if. So nested if will contain more than one true statement. In this example, the delivery type will be either A, B or 3. So the nested if will check the first logical test. If the first test is false, then it will check the next logical test. If both tests are false, then the false value will be shown. So let's look at this example here. So we're going to be referring to this sheet here. So basically we've got different delivery types. We've got A, B and 3. So if the delivery type is A, then the cost will be £3.50. If the delivery type is B, then the cost will be £4.50. Obviously if it's not A or B, then the delivery cost will be 0. It'll be 3. Okay, so if we go back to my presentation, so how it works is the logical test will basically check the criteria in a cell if it matches A. Okay, if it matches A, then we're going to say £3.50. Okay, if it doesn't match A, then we check the next condition. So the next condition is to check if this cell contains the letter B. If it contains the letter B, then the true statement will be 450. If both of these logical tests are false, then this statement will be shown instead. So let's go ahead and do this example. So equal if. So we have multiple conditions. So the first logical test is going to be on this cell here. So D4. What we want to say is if D4 is equal to A. So we have to put A into speech marks because it's text. And if that's true, the delivery cost will be £3.50. So don't put £3.50 into speech marks because you won't be able to apply formatting like currency. So comma, okay, bold false has become bold, but we have another condition to check. So we type in if. Okay, the second logical test is going to be, again, the same cell is now equal to B. And if this cell here is equal to B, then we're going to say the delivery charge is £4.50, comma. So the first condition is we're checking to see if this cell contains A, and if it's true, we'll say £3.50. If that's not true, the second condition is we're checking to see if this cell contains B. If this cell contains B, then the true statement will be £4.50. Obviously, in this case, A and B are both false values. So this will be shown instead. So the false value is 0. Now what you need to do is close the brackets until you close the black bracket. So this is a green bracket, and we have to close the brackets until we close the first bracket, which is black. And if I press enter, I'm expecting to see 0. If I replicate this function, when I see A, I expect to see £3.50. When I see B, I expect to see £4.50. Now we need to change the format into currency. Okay, so make sure you select currency rather than accounting.